Hello and welcome to National Herald. This is Danish bin Nabi. Since the reading down of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir, there has been no progress as far as the dialogue process between India and Pakistan is concerned. From 2019 to April 2022, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, has said until the pre-August 5th status is not restored in Jammu and Kashmir, there would be no dialogue with India. Since April of this year, the new Pakistan government, led by the Sharif brothers, has not said anything about the dialogue with India. To understand what has happened between the two countries, we are today joined by a US-based senior political analyst, Mr. Raza Rumi. Mr. Raza Ahmad Rumi, welcome to National Herald. Mr. Rumi, do you believe that there was an understanding between India and Pakistan as far as the reading down of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned?
I don't think there was an understanding or a formal level of understanding, but I do believe that the Indian government would not have taken that decision without informing some of its key allies in the Gulf states, perhaps the United States, and to sort of convey to Pakistan that this may be on the cards. So, these things are difficult to assess, and many years later, then people write books and we get information. But I don't think that, there was any formal understanding, not to my knowledge.
But the Middle Eastern neighboring countries, they might have talked with the Pakistan or informed about such a move from the Indians.
Yeah, I think they might have, and because if you remember, right after the decision in August 2019, Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, undertook a detailed tour of the Muslim states in the Gulf. He went to Saudi Arabia, he went to Qatar, he went to Bahrain, he was given medals and acknowledgements. So it was pretty much well rehearsed, if you may ask, if you may like to call it that. Yeah.
So it sends a signal that some of the Middle Eastern countries were aware of the things that are going to happen.
Yes, they were. I think they may have been taken into confidence, or they may have been given a signal that this might happen. And you can see that their silence on Kashmir issue, testifies to that.
And indirectly, these Middle Eastern countries might have informed Pakistan about such a move.
Yeah, I think that could be a possibility. That could have been a possibility. But I think more importantly than Pakistan, it is the what is shocking is that the Gulf states and many other Muslim states have not really spoken up for the rights of the Kashmiri people. The special status that they enjoyed under the Indian constitution, which was scrapped in like a couple of minutes in the parliament, should have, caused an uproar, whether it was UAE, whether it was the Saudi government, or whether it was Bahrain or Qatar, Kuwait, others. But no one really took it seriously.
So Pakistan might have this information that something is brewing up in the Indian side of the Kashmir. Still, they did nothing.
So what could have Pakistan done, Danish? You tell me. I mean, there are not many choices. Diplomacy is the only choice. The last time Pakistan military undertook the Kargil war, that adventure, it backfired. It backfired because ultimately, with the American mediation, it had to be stopped. So, short of diplomatic and political choices, there are no other choices for Pakistan. Pakistan cannot enter into a military confrontation with India. It is going to be damaging for Pakistan and India as well, and both countries are nuclear armed.
How has the reading down damaged the dialogue process between the two countries?
No, I think the dialogue process is stalled, as you know. I mean, it is stalled because since 2019, Pakistan's official position is that India should reverse the 2019 decision and scrapping of the various constitutional and legal provisions that gave autonomy to Kashmir. But Indian government is not going to do that because that has not only been celebrated by BJP, but also the so-called other secular liberal parties have backed the BJP.
So if Indians are not, if they are not going to do that, so what is the way forward then? Are we going to be the adversaries forever?
I think that is the that is what it seems like. But no, I think the important thing is that India and Pakistan should resume the dialogue in which they should include the issue of Kashmir. If you remember, there are many solutions. There's a four-point formula which was floated by General Musharraf, and Manmohan Singh was very keen to consider that. Then there was in domestic turbulence within Pakistan in 2007, and that could not lead to anywhere. And then you we had limited a bus service was started, trade from Indian held Kashmir to Pakistan. The Azad Jammu and Kashmir took place. Easing of visas, restrictions was talked about. I think that is perhaps the best solution going forward in the short term. And then, of course, it is the right of Kashmiris to decide what they want to do, whether they want a separate country, whether they want to remain with India or merge with Pakistan. That is something that has never taken place.
But Mr. Rumi, what about the back channels? Are there any back channels going on right now between the two countries?
Back channels have been going on. We believe that in UAE, in Dubai, the Mr. Ajit Doval was in touch with Pakistan's intelligence apparatus, but I don't think much has come out from there.
But do they mount to anything? All these back channel talks in one country or the other, do they really mount to anything?
Yes, they do, because that is when you have such hardened positions, official positions, like the way India does and Pakistan does, there's no choice but to first have a back channel dialogue, agree on a certain formula for engagement, and then build public opinion around it. Now, you see, the problem is, Danish, that it's no longer the two states. It's the public opinion, the noisy, big mainstream media in India, which is dominant and huge, is a big player now. Even if tomorrow Modi says, "Okay, I'm going to go to Pakistan and make peace," the 50 or 60 channels and newspapers are going to create an uproar. How could you do that? And terrorism and Mumbai and Kargil and this and that. And same in Pakistan. Even if a Pakistani Prime Minister, General Bajwa, who is the head of Pakistan Army, has been giving public statements that he wants to engage with India on all issues, including Kashmir. But within Pakistan, the political governments, politicians played for their own political purposes.
But Mr. Rumi, the fact remains that whenever there was a dialogue process, a start of a process, dialogue process between the two countries, there is a militant attack somewhere in India and the process gets halted. This is a reality which has been going on since now the 1999 when Vajpayee went to Lahore.
Yes, but I think you're right about that, and it's very unfortunate, and we must condemn that. But at the same time, do remember that under General Musharraf, not only he visited India, Vajpayee came to Pakistan, the then Prime Minister, and later on they were parleys. Back channel dialogue had actually prepared a peace agreement of a way of moving forward, and particularly some level of agreement on the contours of four-point formula given by Musharraf. And this was after Mumbai. Sorry, this was not after Mumbai. My apologies.
Before
But
Mumbai.
just before Mumbai, and then Mumbai was the sabotage of that ultimate, movement made in a decade.
Which is of course the India's concern. That's my question to you. Whenever there is a dialogue process, something like Mumbai or Kargil or any other like the Pathankot things happen, and it all of a sudden the all this comes back to the zero.
But also, don't forget Samjhota Express attack that was perpetrated by the extremists within India. And that was also a blow too. So, while it is true that in Pakistan there are powerful forces and actors who don't want peace with India, now we also have a reality that within India, there are forces that do not want any movement forward. So, Samjhota Express, all the investigations done, still there no punishment has been meted out. I mean, if India wants to claim a higher moral ground, it should start by punishing those who, launched attack on Samjhota Express and, did such a thing. And that would, and then India would be in a position to talk.
Mr. Rumi, point well taken. But from the Indian point of view, you have done nothing as far as Mumbai is concerned.
So I think if you know that in the recent years, the Mumbai attack perpetrators have been tried and prosecuted, and some of them have been sentenced now, just a year ago. That has come through. These things take time, and you have to understand that it is a very complex sort of historical baggage that also Pakistan carries with it. But I totally support this argument, and I'm often criticized for that because I believe that Pakistan should never be a party. The state of Pakistan should never be a party to any such militant attacks, and if they ever happen, they should be the first ones to condemn, prosecute, and bring those perpetrators to justice.
And to be very fair to the Indian side, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to Lahore unannounced, and soon after Pathankot happened. That his visit to Pakistan had created some good friendly relations between both the sides. But all of a sudden, then the Pathankot happens, and things again come back to zero.
No, I don't think that was. I mean, I think that was a very good gesture by PM Modi, and but he came to a private gathering, Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter's wedding. Nawaz Sharif invited him. He came over. It was not a state visit. There was no parleys that took place. There was no agenda for dialogue. So
But this is how the relation starts to build between the two
yeah,
countries.
but don't forget Nawaz Sharif also attended Prime Minister Modi's swearing in, despite lots of opposition at home. He was advised not to go, but he overruled everyone and went to India to attend that swearing in. So in Pakistan we have a civil military problem, serious one, but now we have a more serious. But now the military seems to be keen to push for engagement with India. I mean, trade is now again being talked about, but it is now the political parties because Imran Khan is a staunch opponent now of any kind of movement on this front, and that's why the current government, even though officially it wants to start trade with India, the finance minister of Pakistan has had announced it, but yeah, I think they are really scared of the political backlash.
Talking of Imran Khan, right now he is addressing a humongous crowd at Rahim Yar Khan. What do you make of his rallies?
Well, I mean, his rallies are, I mean, he's a popular politician, as you know, and he's a populist, and he draws a lot of people, especially in the urban middle class areas. He has that big support, so he wants to come back into power. I mean, I don't think there's anything extraordinary in it. He was booted out of power through a vote of no confidence. He's trying to he wants an early election so that he can win and come back into power again. And elections are due next year anyway.
Is Pakistani establishment going to hold the elections next year in Pakistan?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. There's no way that elections can be. You see, in Pakistan since 2008, we are witnessing a new era in which elections are held. Power is transferred to civilian governments. Of course, there are irregularities and charges of rigging, but they will be fixed over time. Democracy does not take root in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. I mean, it's a long process.
And are we seeing a change in November as far as your army general chief is concerned?
I honestly don't know, Danish. At the moment it's very unclear. Most likely, General Bajwa might stay and might be given an extension. But then
A
who
second
knows?
extension.
Yeah, second extension. But it's under the law because the political parties amended the law in January 2020. Um, the Army Act was amended and they set the retirement age for Army Chief as 64. Mr. Bajwa is not 64 yet.
Can I ask you something about Pakistan Army? In near future, can we see that Pakistani establishment making a way away from the Pakistani politics, the mainstream Pakistani politics? Can they stay away from the politics?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen immediately or short term. There's a long history, as you know. Half of Pakistan's life was spent under military rule. They have had a very huge role in Pakistan's not only politics, policy making, society. So these things again take time to recede, and it requires an effective, strong parliament. Stronger political parties, stronger civil institutions that gradually take some of that power back and set the civil military relations right. But it requires time.
You just said that Imran Khan is the populist. Do you believe that he can do that?
I don't think so. Imran Khan was a proxy of the military. He was brought in with military support in 2018. The entire world knows it. The Pakistanis knew it. He was.
And was he thrown out of because of the military again?
No, I don't. I don't think he was thrown out of just because of the military. The military said that they were not going to back him. So the military brought him into power for 3.5, 4 years, managed his government because Imran Khan was. It was his first time in office. He was inexperienced and amateur in governance. So the military, especially the ISI, was helping him govern the country, and then they took
Which were the Mr. Rumi? Which were the areas that ISI was helping him govern the country?
everything in the parliament, whether it was voting in the bills, whether it was arresting opposition politicians, whether it was crackdown on journalists and dissenters. All of that was Imran Khan was aided by the establishment. But somewhere at the end of last year, they decided that they were getting a bad name because Imran Khan's failures in governance. So they started to move back, take a step back, and that gave. And for the opposition, combined opposition, this was a signal. This was a time to strike, because earlier Imran was being supported in the parliament with the support of the establishment. So actually, in the vote of no confidence, April 2022. The army did not interfere, and that's what Imran Khan is complaining about. He's not saying I'm going to set the civilian institutions right. I'm going to, take back civilian power. He says, come and help me, bring me back to power.
Mr. Rumi, coming back to India and Pakistan, do you think that Pakistan army will ever support a civilian government in Pakistan as far as the dialogue with India is concerned?
I think they will. I think they will, and they have to, because of the changing situation in the world. In the Cold War era, India was aligned with Soviet Union. Pakistan was aligned with the US. There was a clear case of Pakistan seeking US aid, military aid, to defend itself against the Indian quote unquote threat. Those times have changed. The world does not want India and Pakistan to be fighting. And the other big thing, Danish, let me finish, is the fact that climate change has already started destroying lives in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh. And if we want to survive as a planet, as a region, taking care of our poor people, there's no other choice but to collaborate. And the military knows that now, after these devastating floods in Pakistan that have left 33 million people homeless, without any aid and without any health care. So it is time of reckoning, not just for Pakistan, but also for India, also for Bangladesh.
And you are hopeful that Pakistan army will support its civilian government as far as India is concerned?
Yeah, in future, so General Bajwa has already given 3 speeches in which he has talked about normalization with India. I mean, what more should he say?
Mr. Rumi, which Indian politician, in your view, has the capacity and strength and the vision to solve the Kashmir problem with Pakistan?
I currently, among the Indian political class, I do not see that. I mean, historically, Indian National Congress had
Not
some.
even the Prime Minister Modi.
No, no, let me start. So historically, Indian National Congress, with the Manmohan Singh was trying that, but now they are so much afraid of Modi and the rising Hindutva that they have taken a step back. Prime Minister Modi started off well with his intentions, but as you know, in his re-election, in the year 2018. When was it? 2018, 2019, right? 19. They used the Pakistan card brazenly. Chokidar, Chokidar. So, the political card has been used. Of course, Mr. Modi.
But Chowkidar was not for the Pakistan. It was for the Rafael deal, not for the Pakistan.
No, it was not for the Rafael deal, but there was an attack, if you remember, when they tried to, when they came in and destroyed the so-called militant hideouts and training camps of uh, Jamaat Dawa or whoever Lashkar-e-Taiba.
That was the Balakot attack, if you are talking of. Chowkidar Chor Hai was for the Rafael deal,
No, Chaukidar Chor hai, but then they also said that, Modi is great at defense because he went inside Pakistan and destroyed.
which was the Balakot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Balakot was strategically timed was it February 2019? And it was falsely painted as some kind of a victory. There were no hideouts over there. There was no evidence of Lashkar-e-Taiba training camps. I'm not saying that Pakistan has not supported. Pakistan has supported these groups. Of course, we all know that. But that was so well staged and so well amplified by the Indian media that Modi emerged as this victorious defender of India, and so with a strong security man, Modi got all the votes.
Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi has it in him that he can solve all the issues between India and Pakistan?
I personally think Rahul Gandhi definitely has it in him, but I don't see Rahul Gandhi coming into power anytime soon. I mean, unless there's a miracle, some chamatkar, as they say in India, happens, there is no chance. I mean, Mr. Modi is likely to win the next election. So coming back to your earlier question, he is the default leader who can solve this problem. So it is Narendra Modi who has the capacity. You use the word capacity to do that because he has a big party machine. He's very popular. People listen to him. If he were to make a small overture and a peace gesture and start talking about this thing, he can solve it. But his ideology comes in the way.
Mr. Rumi, how do liberals in Pakistan view the uprising of the right wing groups in India? For example, the RSS, the BJP, how do they view how do your liberals view the politics of India right now?
No, obviously, the not just liberals. I mean, everybody gets very concerned and largely because of the fact. So there are two things going on. One is, of course, there's a big Muslim minority which is currently being attacked, through lynchings and whatnot, and all the daily incidents that are reported from India by the Indian press. No enemy countries reporting on that. And the second thing is a lot of public opinion now is swaying to the way they say, "Oh, Mr. Jannah was right. That's why we wanted a separate country because we don't want to be in the shoes of Muslim." Of course, there's a simplistic argument, but I'm telling you what people say. But I think what is important is that this issue is once again, a common issue. Ill treatment of minorities happens in India, happens in Pakistan, happens in Bangladesh, happens in Sri Lanka. We can see what has been happening in Lanka, with the Sri Lankan Muslims, and what we are seeing in India with regard to Muslims and Christians is awful. And in Pakistan, minority groups within Muslims and Christians and Hindus are being targeted. So I guess once again, this is a shared problem. See, everything that we talk about is a shared menace, is a shared problem.
Because as per one of the reports, we have the same DNA. The entire South Asian countries have the same DNA.
97.3% or something like that. So obviously,
Mr. Rumi, my last question, as I am terribly running out of time. You have been an advocate of friendly relations between India and Pakistan.
still am.
You still are, I know. So my question is, do you see a hope?
I'm generally an optimistic person. So I always hope for the best, and I always hope that, you know, maybe there's some opening. And I did see, General Bajwa's changed position on India as a sign. But unfortunately, as I told you, it's way too. I mean, more than the states now. What to do with the public opinion? What to do with the public opinion in India, which says Pakistan is a terrorist country and it needs to be crushed, and you need to go and do quote unquote surgical strikes, or when mainstream TV anchors say, why don't we bomb Kashmir altogether, and all the militants, when Burhan Wani was killed. I mean, I remember watching Indian television shows. Yeah, Burhan Wani, was using violence or militancy as a tool, but that does not mean that the entire Kashmiri population has to be punished, right? Collective punishment is a medieval, barbaric idea. So I am, of course, hopeful with with a bag of salt.
And the hope must be there.
Of course, we are talking, Danish, you and I are talking. That is the hope. Internet has opened up so many possibilities. There are movements on both the side. They have stopped visas. India doesn't give visas to Pakistanis, and Pakistanis don't give visas to Indians. I mean, ridiculous, in the 21st century.
Mr. Rumi, we hope for good days ahead. Thank you very much for talking to National Herald.